What's going on, guys? Fierce Spartans here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Blackout, the new Battle Royale mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and it has been 100% confirmed that it is going to be first person, 100% first person. That's what David Vanderhaar said, and let me know what your guys' thoughts are, because I know many of you guys were hoping to be third person, and many of us were just expecting it to be third person, because that's what the trend has been in the Battle Royale scene, to just do third person shooters like Fortnite and PUBG. So, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Personally, I think this will make gunfights a little bit more smoother. You won't have people third-person peeking around corners like you see in Fortnite and PUBG. And you'll also have that fluidity with the gunfights that Call of Duty has had for many, many years now. You'll have that in the first-person experience. The bad news is cosmetics aren't really going to be that big of a concern for people, I don't feel like. That's kind of a bad business move by Treyarch and Activision. Because why would you buy skins if you can't even see your own skin? Like, you see it in this gameplay here. I just was running out with my fist. That's all you're going to be able to see. So I don't really see why there's going to be any point for anyone to buy cosmetic items unless if there's voice animations. Like, you can have the zombies characters and hear their voices, which would be pretty cool. But then again, why don't you just go back and play the old school zombies games or something? So I don't know. Maybe they could do something with cosmetics, but I feel like the skins are the biggest thing that people enjoy with these Battle Royale games, and so they kind of lost that with the ability to do first person. We'll see. Maybe in the future they'll end up having a third person mode for it. I don't know, we'll just kind of have to see what ends up happening with that. So as I said, let me guys know what your guys' thoughts are on first-person Battle Royale for Blackout. Next thing we're going to talk about is the player count. Now, nothing has been mentioned, really, nothing confirmed or anything, which is kind of concerning for me and pretty much everyone else, because player count is one of the biggest factors in Battle Royale, and having 100 is kind of the standard. You see that with Fortnite and PUBG. 100 players is kind of important. I don't think that there will be 100 players at the beginning. I think maybe at some point in the future, maybe a couple months down the line, there might be 100 players. But lately, they've just been testing a bunch of different numbers and amount of player bases. I'm sure they've tried doing the testing of 100, but the engine probably can't handle that, honestly, which is kind of unfortunate. And so I don't expect it to be there at the beginning. I expect that they'll end up doing 64 players, because isn't that what the Battlefield size is for their games? I know they haven't done Battle Royale yet for Battlefield, but I'm pretty sure Battlefield games are 32v32 or something like that. I think that might end up being the player count for Battle Royale and Call of Duty 64. I'm hoping at least 80 at launch. If they say 80 at launch and 2 months later we'll have 100, I'd be okay with that. I know a lot of people wouldn't be okay with that, but 80 players is still a lot, especially when you consider that in Fortnite, of the 100 players, 30 of them die instantly at Tilted Towers anyways, so it's pretty much just 70 player lobbies in Fortnite. Let's be real. But, let me guys know what you guys' thoughts are and expectations of what they're going to end up doing, and your predictions, I guess you could say, of what the player count will be. With 100 players, if we ever get up to that, how will the connection be? Because we all know 6v6 Call of Duty games sometimes have pretty bad connection as it is. Even 8-player free-for-all matches, they have pretty bad connections a lot of times. And don't even get me started on Ground War. There's always half the lobby lagging. So it'll be interesting to see if Call of Duty will be able to have a good connection in Battle Royale modes. And I think that's what everyone's waiting to find out too, because we all know that Call of Duty does not have perfect connection. So the size of the map, Drifter did a really, really good video. He took the size of Nuketown, and David Vanderhaar said it was going to be 1,500 times the size of Nuketown, which he has later said that was a conservative estimate. So what Drifter got in his calculation was that it's going to be about the size of Fortnite. It'll either be a little bit bigger or just a tad smaller, but since the recent info that that was a conservative estimate. It's probably going to be about the size of Fortnite exactly, maybe a little bit bigger even, especially when you have these vehicles. It's going to make the map feel even smaller with the land, air, and sea vehicles, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know in PUBG there's a lot of camping in vehicles, just riding around in a truck until, the circle gets pretty small to where you can't really do that anymore. I feel like that could be something that happens in Call of Duty Battle Royale, You could see people trying to stay in helicopters and whatnot until the final circle. But I feel like the helicopters will get shot down fairly quickly compared to, maybe a, land or sea vehicle in the game. The other thing, the last thing we're going to touch on is that it is not going to be standalone. That's kind of what they've been saying. They haven't really thought about doing that at all, which is kind of interesting. And I was kind of hoping it would be free, not just because I am a person who wants everything in life to be free. I'm not that type of person. But when you look at Battle Royale games, you need to have a bunch of players playing at the same time. And with Call of Duty on PlayStation, you might, like 1 or 2 months after the game's released, you're only going to have 100 to 150,000 players playing at any given time. And those 100,000 people are going to be spread across zombies, regular multiplayer, and now this Blackout mode. You're going to have a lot of players to play it. So, if you have, say, 10% of the people playing zombies, I feel like that's a fair estimate, 10%, 10,000 people, you're left with 90,000 people. Even if you go super conservative and say only 30,000 players are going to be playing the regular multiplayer, you only have 60,000 players for the Battle Royale mode, if it's not cross-platform. So 60,000 players, that sounds like a lot to many people, but when you consider that this is worldwide player count, you're going to have a good amount in Europe, you're going to have a bunch in Southern California and, northeastern United States. But a lot of other areas, it's going to be left open, and they're probably going to have some pretty bad connections. Like, for instance, if you live in Missouri, you might get people in your games from Colorado, Florida, Arizona even, possibly. So you're going to have a lot of different players coming in, and that could be pretty bad for the game, which is why I was kind of hoping to be free so that you could get a bunch of players into the games and not really have to worry about those connection issues that we are kind of assuming are probably going to be a big concern. And I think Treyarch knows that as well, that the connection issues are a concern. So that's why I was kind of hoping it'd be free, but maybe if it's cross-platform, that'll be good enough to kind of keep people at bay, and maybe, who knows, maybe there will be a bunch of players playing. Like, Fortnite's having, a couple million? I don't even know how many people are always playing Fortnite, but isn't it a few million people or something are concurrently playing Fortnite at any given time? That allows the connection to be, in that game, to be super stable. And I don't know if that will be the case with the Blackout and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So let me guys know what you guys' thoughts are on Blackout. I'm excited for it, but I'm also very concerned. It's either going to do really, really, really well, or it's going to completely fail. It's not going to be an in-between, probably. It's going to be one extreme or the other, which is kind of unfortunate, but it could also be really, really good. So yeah, that's all for this video. We'll be talking more Black Ops 4 in the near future, so make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next video.